Welcome back to another episode of Chill Builds, where instead of chilling, we're warming up with a forest fire. So we started off this episode by clearing out this mountain because I wanted to put a church on top of that hill. The original vision that I had for it really didn't come to fruition too much, but I'll tell you what, this episode is going to be the episode where Dragon Hearth ends up looking like it does in the intro scene. So that's exciting. So I flattened it out a bit right there. So instead of building it right at the top of the hill, I built it like halfway up. I think maybe if I had built it right up on top, I think it probably would have come out a little better. But I still think it came out pretty okay for what it is. So there's me thinking in the rain, thinking about what I want to do. Probably actually going to the bathroom or something instead. I don't know what I'm doing, but I stopped and I didn't do nothing for a little bit. But yeah, so the church, I wanted it to sort of be closer to what the sort of poorer, air quotes, poorer buildings that I intend to make later on are going to be, where it's mostly just roof. Maybe. Did I not do it that way? I definitely did. Where, yeah, it's mostly just roof. And then the bottom floor is just a little bit of a floor, and then it just goes in a pyramid up, a really steep pyramid up, and that's the whole building. And then I actually at the top added a little more because it's a church, so I added some so like an extra little top floor to it, and then I also put a bell tower in, which I really struggled with. But I was really trying to add new kinds of wood into things because we're getting into that territory where there is oak around and stuff, and I wanted to add oak in, but the places I tried to add oak into this build they just weren't working for me. They just didn't feel like they fit too well. But I do end up adding some oak later on when we build the wall. Oak ends up becoming a pretty solid oak log is what I actually built the walls out of. And I think it looked pretty good. I think it looks like a wall. So I'm pretty happy with my wall as well. But here we go. This is eventually going to be the bell tower for our church. But right now, I actually filled it in fully as just a regular tower, and then I changed my mind later. But if you see, so I have the whole middle section is sort of popping up a little bit. I just thought that was a nice, interesting little roof there, and I thought it really fit with the church, because if I wanted to have the tower there, I felt like I had to have something else in front of it as well. So and then the roof of the tower, it's hard to see, but I had a little bit of some issues with how I wanted to do it and how steep I wanted the roof and whatnot, but I think I got a good angle on it. And then this is where I put some oak logs in, or oak planks, and I filled it all the way in. And I do go back and I change this because I didn't like that. I didn't like the oak there, and I didn't like that it was a filled-in tower. I thought it fit better sort of as an open-air tower with a bell in it. So that's what I eventually go back and do. But yeah. So then we're just filling in the inside, the walls. I've been trying to get better about building the wood frame and then like doing everything inside where it's difficult to see, but it's kind of hard that way. And then this also is there's a lot more stone in this build. So if you see, so we start with our stone bricks, and then, well, actually that second layer is actually going to be cobblestone. Just because I'd imagine cobblestone to just be a little bit lighter than stone bricks. So, or maybe I did it the other way around. I think maybe gosh, how did I do this? Yeah, so cobblestone there, and then I believe I did plaster on top there. Yes. So we do ourselves some plaster. Got a nice little sun flare in there. Look at that. beautiful. And I thought that looked pretty good. And then I actually added a cross in the front there, if you can see. And this shot I really liked because it doesn't move, but I like to see just the clouds just flying by as I build things. Is pretty cool. So then some plants up by that top cross. I don't think this is I don't think Christianity really exists in this world, in this lore, but a cross just seems to fit. So that's what I did. And then with churches, there's usually stained glass. So I actually go through and put stained glass in. I did red and purple. So you see purple for all the little windows and then red for the crosses. And I think it looks pretty good, honestly. And then we'll go back to the bell tower and clear out all the oak because I didn't like it. I didn't like the spruce either, so we kind of just put a layer like that. And then I put a bell in there. It's pretty straightforward, and a place for people to stand. Whoop! There's the Amber Alert on my phone. Oh, that's sad. Okay. And then here we go. Here's the wall. So this is my favorite part of the build so far, honestly. I really just think it came together really well, and I did struggle a little bit at the beginning to try and figure out how to make it, but I think I got it. And the big thing is it's mostly stone because like it's a wall. It's supposed to be a defensive thing, and with a wall you really want it to be mostly stone. But as well, you know, wood makes it easier to hold the stone up and keep everything together, and it's just a cheaper building material and stuff. So it's mostly stone all the way up, but then obviously higher up the wall you go, the more wood there is a little bit. So the path in the middle is all wood. I tried doing that first, and it just didn't look good to me. And I tried a lot of things. Tried just switching it out for logs there, and then I decided I didn't like that, so I went back to stone. There's a lot of back and forth on this particular wall, but I think I ended up just deciding to build a small section in the back there, and then go with whatever design that ended up being. So, and then I did want, so where you go underneath the gate of the wall, I wanted that to pop out a little more than the rest of the wall, because that's where sort of the guards are going to be. And then if it's being sieged, usually there's like little trapdoors in there that they can drop like boiling oil and stuff in, and I just wanted more room for there to be defensive things, like the gate to come up, or however it ends up working out. But I ended up putting these circles in, and I really like these circles. I think they came out really, really well with the cobblestone in the back. I think that detail was really nice. So those circles, and this is where it really starts to come together. I messed with the gate thing there, and then there we go. That's where it clicked. The style of it is so it's still mostly stone, but there's still wood in there to sort of keep things together. The river was difficult, so part of the difficulty with this is, and keeping things the same, was the size of the river, the width. There we go. There's a friend from the server coming to say hello. That's happened a few times, I think, throughout the series, whether we've noticed or not as we're watching back. But anyway, sort of the width of the river and the height of the river. So the height of the river is obviously a lot lower on the other side of the mountain because the hill's going down, and so is the river. And it's also at a different spot. It's kind of going at an angle, and it made things really funky, and that was probably my biggest struggle, was the river itself. But I did settle on a design for the wall, and I really, really like it. It definitely, because I just made the wall part, and I didn't make the towers and stuff that you see in the beginning initially. Like, they just weren't there, and the wall was just missing something to me, and I couldn't figure it out. And it was the towers, and I'll probably make some more towers around. I don't know if maybe this wall, or maybe I'll do another wall. I don't know. If you see around to the right past the church, it doesn't really go all the way around. So I'm thinking I need to extend the wall eventually. But for now, there you go. There's the wall. And then like I said, I messed with the river. So the width of the river was a little bit different down there than it was up top, as well as in a different location and elevation. So it was a bit funky. So yeah. And then I've used some commands to fill in the middle with wood as well. And then of course you need a wall for people so people don't fall off, and something for them to stand behind and duck behind as they're shooting arrows at whoever is sieging. So there's that. And I quite like the walls. I like those chiseled stone bricks there. I think they're a good detailer. They're a good central brick to put places. So and then I build around a little bit of the mountain there, and I was torn between what I wanted to do up by the church there. I ended up making like a little shed right there where those llamas are. I had to kill those llamas. And that wandering trader, unfortunately, they had to be executed for the good of the church. But I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do this area, but when you see in episode 6 how I've done the geography, I think I need to come up here and sort of tweak things, because I built a little shed there, and I think I'm going to get rid of that shed. And I initially intended the other side of the church to be the front door. I think I'm going to move it to over here instead, just because there's just a little bit more room out front on this side. Or something. I'm not really sure. The church is in kind of an awkward position in terms of the rest of the city. So here's, this is a new day. I came back and started building some more. And I wanted to build a tower, which was supposed to be this, but it didn't really work. I couldn't really just get like just a regular tower. It just didn't seem to fit with me. So I actually just made that a little extra bit of the wall. And then I figured, so where would you put a tower? And to me, I'd put a tower to either side of the gate. So I started building little towers there, and I figure instead of like a full tower that outcrops, just make it pop out a little bit, a couple blocks from the initial wall. And so I got this, and it adds a lot of depth. I really like it. It doesn't pop out a full walls section from the wall. It just pops out a little bit. And then there you go. You can see the slits. I think I raised that up one block. Yes. And there's those slits that you see in castles and stuff, and those are meant to be easy to shoot arrows out of, but very difficult for arrows to be shot in. So you can shoot down at your enemies in a defensive way, and they'd have to be a really good archer to sort of shoot back into that area for you. So there's that. And then obviously I end up doing that on the backside, and I need to figure out roofs for them. At the beginning I thought maybe I would connect the roofs, because I want sort of that central gate area to be a tower as well. And you know, maybe there's like a barracks in there or something, and obviously where they all go when they're defending a siege. But I changed my mind. I decided not to connect the roofs of the two side tower things, and the central one I ended up doing them separately. But I think it looked good, you know. And then I think up top, like where I built the roofs for these, I think that's where, you know, the guard barracks are, or some of the guard barracks, you know. There's loads of soldiers. This is a very well fortified town, or it's going to be. I think it's going to be, you know, a very defensible city that's difficult to take, because it's up in the mountains. It's difficult to get to. It's got its back to the mountains, so they can't get to it from that side because everything's too steep, and so they have to go through the mountains. If you look on the map, there's mountains to either side of that valley down below that we terraformed last episode for quite some time. So they really have to trudge through a lot of stuff to get to Dragon Hearth. And that's a good thing, you know. That means it's very defensible. It means it's very a very good place to build at. So So yeah. So we build our roofs, and then I think once the roofs are done, it's a done deal. Then we're done with this episode, and we'll be at the point where when you see the intro of Dragon Hearth, this is the build we have, which is pretty cool. So you've got to see everything that's been built so far. And then the towers, obviously, they're pretty simple. Look at that. So I've recorded one more episode, pre-recorded one more episode to post before I get to go back to building. I've told myself. So we'll see how that goes. I really need to make like an end card for the end of these videos, so they don't just go black, or I don't just show the night shot. But there you go. That's it. That's Dragon Hearth. Chill Build episode 5. All done. I hope you enjoyed.